It is the beginning of the end. At least I'm hoping for the Conservative Party, as the beginning of the end was announced by Nigel Farage of Boris Johnson when he was caught partying, which, that
was a good prediction, actually, yeah.
Yep, 100%. I'm now looking at maybe this is the beginning of the end of the Conservatives, which is a big claim, considering they're able to survive, apparently, nuclear blasts.
Well, they're older than the average giant tortoise, so good.
Yeah, it's amazing. But we'll start off just with a plug from the website, being the second birthday hangout we did.
This was fun.
Which, it's been a bit annoying, though, over those 2 years, to have a look and just watch so much opportunity being wasted.
God, it's so insufferable, isn't it?
By the Conservative Party, and it's just madness. I mean, even the things that were written in black and white of "we will do this," they didn't do.
Yeah,
and instead
their own manifesto, just straight out the window.
Yeah, and basically, that's all dead because we don't have even a democracy, never mind a representative democracy. So poo-poo that. Instead, we have some installed guy and his mates, and they rule the country now, and they have just decided to make their first big move. And I thought we'd go through it because, holy crap, I can't think of a stupider thing to do than they did. If we scroll down on this, I don't know if you can get down to the graph, which just shows the polling. I don't know if you can go to the right there so we can see the most recent stuff. But it's just the fact you can see... Yeah, it's...
Oh, that Sunak bump.
Yeah, that Sunak bump was... they've taken them to a whole 27%.
That's because he doesn't represent anyone in this goddamn country. And everyone can see it.
No, not even slightly. Even the lunatic fringe Labour Party somehow represent the public more. Like, everyone recognises they're mad, but it's like, well...
Yeah. At least,
at least we might vote for them, I guess.
the Labour Party is A, full of English people, and B, full of idiots, which I would say is
most
quite broadly representative of most people in this country.
It's certainly the case that you do run into a lot of lunatics, and there's a lot of them there. Anyway, the Conservatives are on 27%. If you scroll down just a little bit, you should be able to see. I think the only rightist group that isn't I don't even want to call the Conservatives rightist. You can see Reform there. Bumping up. They're now, I think the most recent was on 9%.
Oh, good.
Which is huge for our system, because remember, it's first past the post.
Yeah.
It's like America, except we now have a third party that's
in
on
2019, they were polling higher than the Conservatives, so it could happen again.
Yeah, I think officially they are now polling like the fourth biggest party. They're just behind the Lib Dems. The
Okay,
Lib Dems
fingers crossed.
are an eternal.
Like if you vote Conservative, just don't and vote Reform. Just like everyone, like none of this. Like there are a million little, no, we'll just go for Farage's party. He's the guy with the name. Let's do it.
I as much as I hate some of the things Farage has done, I do have to just end up agreeing.
Yeah.
Because it's just like I don't trust them fully, but frankly I trust them a hell of a lot more than the rando installed dictator.
I expect them to do something that is at least vaguely based.
Speaking of which, what have they been up to? So we'll go to the next link here, which is here's inflation, lads. Because yesterday or whatever, it was the budget. And this is the thing I'm going to just this is the major moves they decided to make. It was like, right, so we don't represent any of you. So what are we doing at least? How does this affect your interests? And, well, number one, so inflation since the tax year of 2020, so when COVID lockdown started, it's now 20.7% in total over that period to now.
Mad.
So there you have that. Thanks lads.
Rishi Sunak's bailouts there.
Yeah, he's the most recent one. Well, he was in charge of the economy for all of that, so he is directly responsible, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
You're entirely correct.
Yeah.
Never let that slide. And now in charge, we have the highest inflation on record, I think. So this is the ONS. This is just the BBC summation of the ONS. But the ONS original graph here only goes back to like the 90s, and it's the highest even in that graph. You have to go back to I think it's 1980s to find inflation higher than what we're currently living under. Or 70s, I forget which decade.
It'll probably be the 70s under Labour.
Yeah. If we go to the next one here, we now actually have something even worse, though, which is we have the council tax going up to 5% without your vote.
I hate the council tax so
enjoy.
much.
So there we are. There's your increase. But that's not the only tax going up. All of them are going up.
Of course they're all
Name a tax. I'm not even joking. We now have officially the highest taxes since the country was literal rubble.
So, going back quickly to the concept of representation... Who voted for higher taxes? Because it wasn't in the bloody manifesto, was it?
But also, what a situation. Like, the country had been bombed by the Nazis to the point that it was made of dust, and it still had... like, that's the tax level we're at.
This is mad.
The deets are not good. Income tax going up. Inheritance tax is going up. State pension tax, that's going up. There's national insurance there. Dividend tax, that's going up. So even if you train your stonks, too bad. Even if it's just a side gig. That's, yeah. Corporation tax, that's now going up to 25%. It's 12.5% next door in Ireland.
Well, I guess we're moving to Ireland.
It's half right next door. And they're like, yeah, we'll whack up 25. What do
As
you
if
think?
That's not going to disincentivize people.
Speaking of which, before we went live, the GDP per capita in the UK now is just under 50 grand. We're still poorer than we were in 2008.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in Ireland, it's 100 grand.
Jeez.
It's double what we are
Yeah.
per capita. That's their GDP.
It's mad.
And in between 2020 and 2021, they went up like 14 grand per person. It's just like we are now the Irish of these islands. Yeah. It's frustrating revenge. We'll get the next one here because, of course, they also decided to implement the Labour policy of theft, which is a good policy because it means.
Oh yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, so they're deciding to steal all the energy companies' profits.
Guys, we need growth. We need growth. What are we going to do? Well, we're going to steal all their money. That's really going to incentivize them to make more money to get stolen.
So anyone in this country will know for the last year or however long, the Labour Party have been endlessly whining that the energy companies are making money, so just steal it. And so they're doing this, and of course the energy companies are like, well, fair enough.
Bye.
No, they're putting up the price of energy.
Of course they are.
What do you think will happen? So no, the energy companies aren't losing anything. We're losing money. Your energy bill's going up. If you go to the next one here, you just see the immediate announcement after that, like, we're going to steal all the energy companies' money. By the way, next thing, all your energy's going up. I'm not even joking. This is what happened in the chamber.
Yeah.
And nobody went, what? What do you mean? No,
Rishi Sunak, the economic Jedi, strikes again.
Yep. The next one here.
Not representing my interests, not representing me descriptively, not even symbolically representing me. They are just formally representing me. Because they are the ones in Parliament and I am not.
It's that simple.
Because
folks.
the British public are so stupid as to not vote Nigel Farage. That's what it is.
Well, that's not even true, because we haven't really had an election since 2019 in which the conditions were different.
True, fair.
It's not the public's fault. And frankly, the public
It will become the next election, though.
If they vote Conservative, that will be true.
Because they'll vote Labour.
Well, since then, I remember the statistics. Was it like 7 out of 10 of people who vote for Boris just aren't voting?
Yeah.
And that's why the polls are so,
But those people, not voting means you get more of this kind of policy from Labour.
Well, yeah, you do actually have to vote. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
And if you don't think it does, well, when
it very much matters,
bro. Like, think of Brexit. Think of when UKIP were 60% of the polls. You could see the fear on the establishment's face. Yeah. And if it didn't matter, why would they be so afraid? Anyway, who are they deciding to stand for? Who are they representing in the government? Because you could argue, well, we had the lockdowns, and it was obviously a cock-up, but to say the least. And, well, we're all paying for it now, you could argue. Well, someone has to pay for it. This wasn't all free.
Yeah, and it has to be us.
Well, who's not going to pay for it is the real question.
Probably Rishi Sunak.
Yeah, probably, almost certainly, because of smart tax planning. But there's other people who won't be paying for it. Those who don't work won't be paying for it.
Well, of course they won't be paying for it. They don't pay for anything.
No, but even... so this is universal credit, so this is... it's broad, but it's basically...
Of course that's going up.
Unemployment
that's going up.
benefit, shall we say, in the simplest possible terms for the international audience. And that's going up with inflation. Wages aren't. So the people who work will be paying for the lockdown against them, which helped them in no way. Whereas those who didn't work, they're getting no problems whatsoever. They will have all of their...
I was looking forward to a nice weekend this weekend, Callum.
Too bad, because also pension...
This is really annoying me.
Because also...
Why didn't you start with this one and then end in the good news one?
I'm evil.
Yeah.
So we also locked down the country. Who was that for? Remember? It was for
Grandma.
Grandma and Granddad.
Both my grandmothers died.
Yeah.
During the lockdowns. Not of COVID.
So, did a good job, I'm sure. That's how they wanted to see the country go.
They died of loneliness.
No, but on their way out, I'm sure they wanted to see the whole country.
Oh, yeah. They wanted to sacrifice their grandchildren's future for a couple more months of life, perhaps?
No, funny enough.
There was no way my grandparents would have agreed to that.
Those who only rely on state pensions, so those who have no other possible income or just didn't plan for anything other than the state taking care of them, they won't be paying for it either.
You know, I'm totally against state pensions these days.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, not
because I know anything about the pension system, out of malevolence.
Well, my dad used to work in pensions, so I know a little bit. And it's just like, of people who live on state pensions, like, there's been a little bit of, let's say, anger about this. And it's not because people hate pensioners. Like,
no.
Of course not. Like, of all the people, pensioners ruin this country is not something anyone believes, for Christ's sake.
We hate the government.
But the state pension system obviously is a pyramid scheme. That's the way it's designed.
Yeah.
There is actually no pot of money in which my national insurance contributions go into, and I will take out when I become 68,
No.
which is when I'll be retiring. There will be no money.
Abolish the pension, and I'll take care of my parents. You take care of your parents. Everyone takes care of their own parents, like it used to be.
Well, the money doesn't. This is my point. There is no pot in which my contributions going
Exactly.
anywhere. They go into the government and they get immediately handed out to those who are currently retired.
Exactly.
That's the pyramid scheme.
Yeah,
and
their children should be looking after them. So that's how, let's go back to it.
Yeah, like every country in Europe does have.
And then
this...
that'll incentivize those like childless millennials. Be like, well, hang on a second, no one's going to take care of me when I'm old. No, they're not.
We have a civilization instead of a company
Instead
for
of
a country.
Instead of a black hole of demography, you know.
Yeah, but it's also just the point of every country does have this pyramid scheme, and Britain's is the worst in Europe, I believe. For state
brilliant!
pensions.
Great.
Like we give out the least. Like France is way worse and whatnot, but their taxes are way higher as a result. So the pyramid scheme is not a good idea. This is the reason why.
Let me take care of my own parents.
Now, legally, if you live in Britain and work, you have to have your own private pension through the company.
Yeah.
Because even the government realised pyramid schemes, not a good idea, turns out.
Pyramid schemes, not sustainable.
Took them until 2018 to figure that one, but anyway. So but those who live just on state pensions, you won't have to pay a penny for the lockdowns, even though apparently it was mostly for you. So not dig at you, but just the good God, like you can see the reason some people.
But again, just another way in which you were not represented. Because if you'd polled the pensioners of this country,
were they for lockdown? Yeah,
would you be for lockdown? There are going to be some consequences, but it might mean you're less likely to catch a COVID. They'd be like, no, just give me COVID right now.
In fact, there was the polling at the time, I believe.
I bet it was.
As long as you didn't ask YouGov. Anyway, but Nigel Farage did a video in response to this announcement, and the reason I'm bringing this up as like a topic is because holy crap, man. Liz Truss was in charge for all of 5 minutes, declared, how about some tax cuts? And was immediately removed, the pound fell, economy went to hellscape, and this was clearly orchestrated, whereas this dude comes in and says, highest taxes since Zavor, huge regulation, massive corporate income tax, and the pound dropped like a penny and then bounced back.
Yeah.
It's almost like...
Somehow that's good for them.
Somehow that, the global economic forum thought would be good and did not punish the country with. Do you see how this whole thing's a sham? Because Nigel Farage, this was his response, in which he titled it, Jeremy Hunt declares war on workers, which was correct, which is, you will pay for lockdown, and also openly just says to entrepreneurs in this video, leave. A British nationalist's advice to any entrepreneur in this country has got to the point of leave. Don't stay here, for the love of Christ. You'd be an idiot too.
I'm reminded of that Joker quote from like Heath Ledger, where he's like, everyone goes crazy if there's no plan, but even when the plan's insane, everyone's fine. Something like along those lines, It's like, okay, the plan is what? To impoverish us all and turn us into serfs of the WEF. And everyone's like, oh, thank God, the pound's back up.
And
like, are you kidding me?
The city and Wall Street are like, yeah, that'll be fine.
Yeah, and just the British public are like, okay, good. Rigged. Some order, some stability. It's like, yeah, but you're going to be a slave.
It's really, I think you're a bit too black-pilled in the public. This really has not gone down well.
Well, the public will have to impress me, frankly, because they haven't impressed me any other time.
That's true.
The American public impressed me, getting Trump in office. That was impressive.
Yes,
right.
Certainly was.
We haven't, Boris was a known quantity.
But here's the newest news from that, because there's the city and Wall Street's opinion on this, and the World Economic Forum, which is that
pound up because UK facing biggest fall in living standards on record.
Yeah,
the plan is insane.
Here's the reality, of course, which the BBC even had to admit in this article, which they published immediately after, which is like, so everything will get worse, but for some reason, those who control the economy haven't destroyed the country in response. In the same way they did with Liz.
Yeah, for some reason, the people in charge are all fine with this.
Yeah, if you scroll down, there's a graph here which just shows after the announcement, it's expected that household income is to fall in real terms at least 7%. Brilliant. So there you are. Thanks, lads. But weirdly, the economy didn't all collapse. It's almost like we know the riggers. Anyway, we'll go to the next one here, because there's also the fact that we also decide to kneecap ourselves in this statement.
Of course, Jeremy Hunt chose to.
It's highest taxes since Zavor. So the whole country was rubble and we needed the tax revenue, whereas now the whole country's not rubble. We still need to take that much for some reason. Who knows why?
Oh, so many different reasons, but mostly giving our money to foreigners.
Well, yeah, but literally in this case, because one of them is the sun god, and we're playing climate reparations to Pakistan, because that nuclear program won't pay for itself.
Oh, God, this is pissing me off so much.
Yeah, so here we have it. This was Jeremy Hunt, the installed unrepresentative financial dictator, who decided to say that, well, on climate change, we've done more than any G20 country.
Well done, Jeremy. Oh, thank God.
He went on to say we will do even more.
Oh, good. We haven't done enough. Having done the most isn't enough.
I mean, our population are poorer than ever, half worth what the Irish are, but we can go further. We can make the Irish worth triple what we're worth. It's just, and then I had to check in. Talking Pints, which is Nigel Farage's show on GB News. I saw a clip from. Oh, sorry, just had to mention as well. The NHS are very quick to make sure that they deal with the waste he insisted they will deal with. This is NHS England proposing jobs that have just been announced. Here you are. NHS Zero Project
Callum,
Manager.
remember, the dye people are all getting cut. So we need a new priestly
change
class. Yeah, exactly. Now it's the climate change piece.
Net Zero Carbon Lead. This is there. And also Regional Net Zero Manager at the NHS. $40 an hour there for that one. The other one's just being full-time. Who knows what they're getting paid. I'm sure it'll be disclosed. I actually wrote a letter to the Treasury asking them how much do you spend on diversity and inclusion, just in salaries. So I'm not asking anything broad. They wrote back to me saying we're not giving it to you.
Can't you put a freedom of information request in?
That's what I did.
Oh, that was it.
The response was it would risk personal data.
Sue them.
I'm at step 1.
Yeah.
So they obviously a grand number of how much you spend on salaries for diversity and inclusion doesn't have anyone's personal data. What are you talking about?
If you're a UK-based lawyer and you're willing to work with us, we can't pay you any money. But if you want to help do something...
Before you jump the gun, I'm at step 1, which is you raise this with there's a guy who's literally in charge of freedom of information requests, whose entire job is to look at the BS the departments bring out as excuses as for why they can't bring that up. And it's at that level. So
if you're a UK-based lawyer and you're interested in getting involved, do email us.
It would be fun if it has to go that far. I hope it doesn't.
Let's just get the ducks in a line.
But on Talking Points, I have to talk about this, the palpable energy.
Okay, good.
I really feel like energy. I don't know, it's a meme thing at this point.
Good.
It is real, and you could feel it watching Nigel's show. And there's the conversation on the show, which I don't actually feel like you need to watch, which is a weird thing to say, because I think just listening to the questions give you enough of, well, how's a public feeling? Not to mention, how's that 50% of the Conservative voters feeling, which are going to flip if things continue this way, and hopefully more. We have a lady here who just brings up her issues, and we'll play the first clip because it's hurtful. Let's play that one.
As a self-employed bookkeeper running accounts and payroll for small businesses around Salisbury Plain, I've never known such concern at the uncertain financial demands facing them. The family-run garage of 2 generations, employing 5 mechanics, has seen its annual electricity bill increase from 2,900 to 13,500, 465%. To what extent has the dogged pursuit of net zero contributed to many small businesses throwing in the towel?
Wow.
But remember, we're not going to cut our net zero commitments. In fact, we're going further than ever before, was the announcement that was made. And meanwhile, people in this country, as you had there, the mechanics in Salisbury Plain, just going bankrupt.
And it's all totally futile because we're 1% of global emissions.
Yeah, but we have to bankrupt the whole country, otherwise, the world might be 1% worse.
Yeah. I make it 10% worse. I don't care.
It gives a crap as long as I can keep the lights on.
Yeah, exactly.
Frankly,
I'm in favour.
I can't remember the guy. He wrote a book about climate change, and everyone assumes that like the working class of England in Sheffield, for example, when the air turned black, frankly, because of how polluted it was, the public at the time were outraged and would write to their MPs or go on strike with the trade unions at the time because of the pollution. No, if you look at the conversations that were happening at the times in the 1800s in Sheffield, the demand was for more power plants, coal power plants, to pollute the air even more so we could have more electricity, because we just didn't have enough. This is the reality of human life. It is not the delusions of some California-based lunatic. It is instead how people lived. And I have to include the second clip from this Talking Pint segment, because it's just Sebastian, which is a good comrade of ours, but also just mentioning, if you're young, why would you stay here?
Yeah.
Let's play.
You mentioned this earlier. You talked a bit about brain drain, and it's a huge concern that I don't think enough people are talking about. We seem to be in an incredibly hostile business environment, and it's easier than ever for young people to want to move elsewhere. They can go to Portugal, they can go as far as Dubai, Singapore, and the tax incentives to go there are great. I'll never leave this country. I love it, every field and every hedgerow. But I know a lot of people will seriously consider whether they can see their future here.
Yeah, he's entirely right.
Question.
Yeah, it's just, well, if you're young, you've got some skills, or even if you just want to not live in a hellhole.
Yeah.
Japan and South Korea will literally pay you to speak English and not have to learn their language first before you move there.
Yeah. My sister did that for like 3 years.
But if you're being offered that at university, or you could stay here, have the highest taxes since the war,
and watch the country just slowly be liquidated.
and have the Irish dab on you at every possible opportunity because they are unironically doing a hell of a lot better than we are.
Because they've got half our corporation tax.
And will presumably within the next 20 years annex Northern Ireland, if not on other grounds than the demographics of that place. So if you buy a house in Northern Ireland, I guess it's a good investment.
Probably.
I mean, I'm sorry, but yeah, I mean,
Probably is.
If I had to describe to you what the Conservative Party would have had to do, let's say we were back when Boris was getting into office, and I had to say what would have happened to get to the point the Conservatives would be dead forever, and I say, they'll lock down the whole country, they'll put people in their home, and then they'll pay out to everyone who benefited from
launching our money overseas.
Yeah, we'll have the highest taxes since the war. There'll be 20% inflation.
I mean, I would have been like, this is not going to happen. That's ridiculous.
What are you, an idiot?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, they'd have to actually be pants on head. No, we'll live in it.
Yeah.
And if you're young, Peter Hitchens' advice is true. Move before it's too late, frankly. And even as an English patriot, I can't stop anyone. I can't even recommend stopping anyone. It's just true. Anyway, checking out the left-wing response to any of what we're living. Remember, this is what the opposition has presented to us as something as if it's worth engaging with. We have the first image here from Paul Mason, who's come to tell us that,
Oh, just don't ever listen to a thing Paul Mason says. He's just an insane communist and he knows nothing.
You click on the first image there, though. But he is actually, as you say,
The fiscal black hole is a lie. Oh, you fucking idiot.
He is a representative of the economic left who are poised for power if there is no actual opposition that turns up.
This is the thing. Like, Paul Mason is representative of like the English midweight class.
With the socialists, yeah.
Yeah, they're socialists. Yeah.
So he says there's no black hole. Do you want to guess why he says there's no black hole?
Because he had a lobotomy at 17. I don't know.
Should we go to the next image just to build up
He's
the
old
tension?
enough to qualify.
Say the line, Bart. A country is in fact like a household with a printer in the basement which can spit out £50 notes. He says any country.
Oh God, I can feel the intellect. Paul's just carrying around his giant brain.
You get the next image, please.
Yeah,
Any country with a central bank cannot go bust in its own currency, he writes.
Oh God, that's so dumb.
I have visited Zimbabwe and
we will
seen
all
the
be
future.
trillionaires.
This is what the opposition were presented with. I mean, we have literal black hole of death over endless taxes, no representation, practical dictatorship on basically any representation front. No interests of the youth, no interests of anyone who's up and coming, no interests of any
Weft
entrepreneur.
occupied government, just
Or for money printer go burr.
Yeah.
But what if we meant it go burra?
I just can't get over it.
But there is one other group in this country that is doing well with
He
the
gets to
status
write
quo.
newspaper articles, folks. Like he gets to. I mean, where was that from? Like the Times or something?
The Economist, I
The
think.
Economist. The Economist.
European, actually.
Right. But
I think the Economist think that's too stupid for even
no,
that.
The Economist are a bunch of communists.
Oh, they would publish it then.
Yeah.
What if Money Pinto went burra? But there is one other group in England. You'll be glad to know. I mean, no one's doing well.
No.
Except, the elite.
Yeah. Obviously.
There's one other group, Carl. Our dear, blessed illegal immigrants. I know this is who we...
I suppose, yeah. Out of all the people doing well in England at the moment, it is the boat people.
I mean, when we get up for work in the morning in this country, and we put on our socks, and we're all groggy, and we get on the way to work. I mean, truly, I do sing a prayer for these people and say, I'm glad I'm working for them.
Yeah.
If I'm working for anyone, it's not my family.
Best bosses in the world.
We have a group of lads from Skegness over here who are here to tell us about where they're from, which is Skegness. I'm not kidding. Let's play.
Where you come from, bud?
Sorry?
Where you from? What country?
I don't know.
Iraq, Syria, Afghan?
UK.
You from UK?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, are you working here then?
No, I'm English.
You're English?
Yeah.
Are you living here then?
I'm from Skegness.
You're from... No, you're not.
Skegness.
No, you're not. Mate! Oi! Oi! Where are you from? Albania?
No, I'm from here.
Alright, come on,
They
mate.
know that everything's in their favour.
Yeah, they know the whole system's rigged. This
They
whole
are the
thing's a joke.
beneficiaries at his expense, and they're laughing in his face.
Yeah, they're laughing in all our faces.
You're going to pay us money, and we're going to just laugh at you.
Unironically, though, when you go and meet these people, they can't believe what we're doing. It's
No one else can believe it either.
No, but we'll go to Labour, who have their opinion on these people, which is that anyone who whines about it and gets upset is just wrong. I can't believe it. As you see here, Stella Creasy, because remember, they're trying to win power right now, so they're on the side of the people who are making...
Again, what's great about
gangsters.
Stella Creasy? What's great about... Like, there's this long-running thing, well, the English are kind of intellectually lazy. They're kind of not very academic. They don't think too hard. And Stella Creasy is just... Paul Mason, these are just particularly fine examples of English mediocrity.
Yeah.
They're perfectly representative of about half of the country.
Of the below average IQ, which is
Yeah.
half of the country.
The lower half of the curve, the bell curve. These are perfectly representative.
I don't know if you scroll down on this, John. I don't know if my response is in there, but she's arguing that basically we border Iran and therefore we must take all Iranians.
What?
I don't know where else you get the conclusion, but I don't know if my response is one of the top ones, but it's just like, if you ever looked at a map lately, if you scroll down a little bit more, John, then we can probably see it. Yeah, there we are. There's a map. She's not seen it yet. I've checked the statistics. She's not blocked me either, so I'll keep responding, lads, and join me in posting maps.
Yeah.
Geographically ignorant people, to say the least.
Did she actually say we border Iran?
No, but she's saying that we need to take them because they're our responsibility, and it's just like,
how?
On what metric?
Do we rule Iran? What?
I mean, once upon a time,
But not now.
well, we ruled it with the Soviets, actually. Okay, the last time we did that, I don't know if you're aware.
What with the Shah?
No, the Second World War. So we and the Soviets together invaded Iran,
Right.
to secure the oil
Okay.
for the war effort. That's
Yeah.
the last time we had any interaction.
That
there.
seems like it was quite a long time ago.
No, but then it also means that it's also the Russians' responsibility to take everyone from Iran, and they have much cozier relations than we do.
And they've at least got the space.
Yeah, well, they don't have the money. Anyway, so moving on to the next one, which is the good news, though, folks. I know I'm not often with that. Rebellion is brewing.
Oh, good.
This actually, I feel like we're in a book club from Frank Dakota. Mm-hmm. You know what I was reading to you when the yellow bomb was instituted in China, the grain procurement, which is what they called it, and then the rebellion started amongst the plebs. Well, rebellion is brewing in response to all of this.
Good.
So let's check it out. So we have this hotel reward for not accepting migrants twice. Skegness Council have tripled their business rates. Well, last September, they write, we were the first hotel to be offered the opportunity to close our hotel completely and house 52 refugees for an obscene amount of money, the hotel writes to its local residents. As tempting as this was, we refused the offer for the following reasons. In our opinion, filling the town with refugees has a negative impact on the local economy. Just
Well,
about
that's
everything.
one reason.
Everything else. Yeah. Whilst 5 hotels that have taken them in the area couldn't give 2 hoots about this, they have a very good reason, though. In all caps, the hotel writes, they don't live in the area. It doesn't affect the area they live in. I love the boomer. It's just like that.
No, I feel like shouting too, to be honest.
Just 4 weeks ago, we were given exactly the same opportunity. I mean, this is spilling the beans, and I'm glad they are, because so many hotels, the chains, who don't live in the area,
It's just like, not my problem.
as they say, an obscene amount of money is being offered for this.
An obscene amount of your money.
Yeah. And lo and behold, we turned it down again, they write. Our reward for this was the local council have now tripled our business rates with no viable reason from either them or the valuation office. So it's entirely a political subjugation of any hotel owner in this country who doesn't bend the will to destroying the place. That's how the Home Office operates against us. I mean, if you wanted to make the public incredibly angry and want to rebel, it's worked.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. Let's go to the next one here, because there's another hotel owner who spilled the beans after we look at this, which is in Skegness, which is, this is the atmosphere in Skegness. We won't play this clip, but it's a council meeting in which you can see all the residents turning up there.
They look quite angry.
Yeah, they spent the whole thing shouting. There's the article after article of councillors saying, I plead with the public to please stop shouting at us.
No.
Get bent.
No, the shouting will continue until, like, representation improves.
And the shouting is not just you're stealing my money and destroying my country. The shouting in this case was a guy saying they've been hanging around the schools. Quote, are any of you going to be responsible for what happens? We all know what will happen, because it's happened everywhere else in this goddamn country.
It's happened everywhere else in Europe where this has happened.
And he literally just points to the councillor, will you be responsible? Will you be responsible? Will you be responsible? Will you be responsible? And there's a round of applause from the audience. And it's just like, yeah, none of them will. They'll all skulk off to their public pensions after all this, which will be backed up by the triple lock. Anyway. But another hotel owner has spilled the beans on all of this, and this is it's just enlightening, and really enlightening, about why every hotel signed up to do this, and why the hotel in your town has done the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's a guy explaining that it really is an obscene amount of money they're being offered. He says here that he would have had to see 95% of his staff, including himself, who lives there, in the hotel, would also have been made redundant by taking the obscene bribe from the
Okay,
Home
go on
Office.
then.
Let's play.
How unsuitable would this have been for asylum seekers?
Completely unsuitable. And that's not being in any way... I mean, the hotel's historic. It's got a historic history. The rooms are beautifully done. The restaurant's got a roaring trade. We've just won an award, a prestigious award. And it would have seen, the majority, 95% of the staff, who are mainly local, laid off, including myself, and it's my home.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think that probably a lot of our audience on radio and television wouldn't realise that as part of the contract, it's a basic level contract, accommodation only.
Totally.
So all of the staff pretty much would have been made redundant.
You'd have had a couple of housekeepers left on, maybe once a week who came in and just changed linen. That's it. Absolutely. Maybe somebody to just supervise what's going on. That's it completely. So you're talking about 25 to 50 jobs, as I say, in the high season, gone. Yeah, very tiring weddings, but we take a lot of pride in them. I mean, we have over 100 a year. They're all pretty much local weddings, local families who've been, their fathers have married here, their mum and dads, and we're very proud of that, and we do them very well. And we've got over 200-300 on the books for the next few years. What do we do about that? I mean, we can't just turn around and say, I'm sorry, you're not having your wedding here now, we're handing the place over. So we've got to stay loyal to them. They've been loyal to us. We've got to stay loyal to them.
But £1.1 million for a year's work, I mean, a lot of people would be tempted by that. Many hotels have been tempted by that are probably on their uppers after COVID.
Yeah, and I can understand that, because money is always a great temptation. This has been a long time. The family who own it have put a lot of money, time and effort into it. We are one big family here, all the staff are. They told us straight away about the offer. Of course, the first reaction was, but they told us as well straight away, there's no way they would even countenance such a move,
That's an absolute patriot.
Yeah.
Every one of these hotels you go anywhere in this country, you can find some really beautiful hotels. They are just locally owned.
It used to be a beautiful country, Callum.
They're not Premier Inns or Corpros.
It used to be an amazing country, I tell you.
I've gone on way too much. I'm going to have to wrap this up super quick. But I just love the line, we have to be loyal to the locals. They've been loyal to us. It's just, you run through the corpos, you've taken all their hotels, and now you're going to have to take it from the Patriots. Which ain't going to happen. The last thing, just because I know this is very depressing, I'll end on something to cheer you up, perhaps.
We'll go for the world's worst take, shall we?
Oh, yeah, we shall. Which is, I'm inviting you all to come and join me in the new game I call So no, I'm joking. It's just responding to him with the details of immigration, which he never wants to talk about. So him just posting, rent controls, delete supply. I'm like, so does immigration. And then if you go to the next one, I'm very much enjoying it. He's whining here that what we should do is start sacrificing firstborn children instead of lowering immigration. You could read that. I'm not joking. There you have it. His solution to why there's so much demand from houses is we either start sacrificing firstborn children or build more houses. No other options on the table. Nothing at all. Won't even entertain it. If we go to the next one here, we can see the fact that he also just, the whole country's ruined. I don't know why. It's clearly not enough immigration, was my guess. If you scroll down here, we can see his response, which is,
It's just a bad take machine.
Just every time. Just no matter what the problem is, more immigrants will solve it.
Yeah.
Like, they're actual angels.
Lockdowns aren't one of the primary factors behind our economic collapse. Yeah, sure, Tom, whatever you say.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we'll end off, we just go forward to, I think, Greg Abbott, who is the next one here, in which we have Greg Abbott just mentioning that he's got a solution, and he's enacting it in Texas, which is, quote, deploying gunboats to secure the border.
Based.
I'm not even joking. That's like number 4 there. There's no other things that are based, but we'll end on that to kind of cheer you up. But otherwise, yeah, hopefully the beginning and the end. If you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as the premium hangouts we do, this one on the second birthday anniversary. If you'd like to find out what else we're putting out, you can follow us on Getter at lotuseaters_com on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.